Jim DeWees always knew that he wanted to help people, especially after being called to serve as a Mormon missionary to the Dominican Republic. But before he could depart, doctors discovered a bone tumor, and Jim faced a life-changing decision.
So, I was 19 years old thinking that I was going to end up losing my foot, from this bone tumor. And they took the bone tumor off. It was not cancerous, so therefore everything was fine. I was able to go ahead and go to the Dominican Republic as a missionary. And the whole time I was there, I just noticed there were amputees everywhere. Every street corner there was an amputee. Every store I'd go in, there'd be somebody missing an arm or a leg. And so that really opened my eyes because I just had a close call with that. So I was more aware of it.
Returning home, Jim completed his education and began a career in medical research until an unlikely accident changed his course forever. During a ski trip, Jim suffered from devastating frostbite, and doctors were forced to amputate his left leg below the knee.
You can either decide to triumph over it and make your life better because of this, or you could go down the path of feeling sorry for yourself or feeling that self-pity. So I decided that the best way was to make this a positive experience, and that's what I did.
Jim started mentoring other amputees in the area, helping them transition in their own journey. But he struggled to find a prosthetic leg that would allow him the lifestyle he once enjoyed.
I was very much in shape, a very avid outdoor recreation person. I needed to be back doing that. So the only way I could see to do that was to make my own legs and do it the way I could feel that it needed to be done. I did quit my job, moved to Los Angeles, went to the certificate program for prosthetics, got my degree, and then spent a couple years working for different places, finished my residency up, and then ended up opening my own clinic here in Bloomington, Indiana. And looking back, it was the best thing I ever could have done. It's allowed me to have that ability to help hundreds of people here to get legs that are comfortable, legs that fit, legs that work, so that these people can attain their potential that they have.
But as Jim grew his practice, he was haunted by those first amputees he had encountered in the Dominican Republic, where something as minimal as a broken bone can lead to amputation, and where limb difference often leads to unemployment and homelessness.
I ended up going down to the Dominican Republic in January of 2004 to just see if it's still the same, if there's still that many amputees in the country, and if there's any place that's helping them with prosthetics. I found a private office Innovación Ortopédica, but they were focusing mostly on braces because they were easier to make, cheaper to make with plastic. But to make prosthetics, it's very expensive because they'd have to order the feet and everything from Germany, somewhere in Europe, or from the United States. I took 2 suitcases full of used components of feet and knees and parts and talked with them about what I thought I would like to do somehow to be able to make prosthetics there to help the people. And they were very skeptical of if I was ever coming back. I brought the cast here to my office and at the same time seeing patients here, but spending the nights here making the ones for the Dominicans. And then I took them back, got the patients back in, got them fit, and they brought 20 more people in, and I cast 20 more people. And so now, after 10 years of working together with Innovación Ortopédica, we've been able to make over 500 limbs for people, all for free, to help these amputees regain their life.
Thanks to specialized training from Jim, clinic technicians are now able to do castings all on their own, using financial donations to cover the costs of materials and fabrications. Jim makes multiple trips a year, delivering the much-needed componentry he's collected from other prosthetists and manufacturers across the U.S.
My goal and the mission is to continue to help the people in the Dominican Republic have access to quality prosthetics. It doesn't really help anybody if it's just Americans that go down and fit these patients and then leave. It's better to go down and work with these guys that are very, very talented prosthetists and help them and give them the resources where they can provide the services in their own country. And I tell people here that try to understand this concept, when someone in the Dominican Republic loses a leg, the thought of them ever being able to afford or get a prosthetic leg to walk again is about like me thinking that maybe next week I'll jump on a spaceship and get up on the moon. You know, when they get that, it's like giving them something more valuable than anything. So to see a kid walking again, running again, or to see the parents, their reactions, you know, there's the emotions, the feelings that go with it are very hard to explain. That's what keeps me going. That's what keeps me coming to do what I do. To do this for people is, it's a real blessing in my life.